And I thought about that verse many times. And if we want the devil to run away from us, it's two things that are required. One is submitting yourself to the Lord. The second one is resisting the devil. The reason a lot of us sin and fall, we submit to temptation is just that. We submit to it. We do not fight. You are going to have to fight. The Lord will help you, but you're going to have to fight. Well, number two, the presence of giants distinguish between the professors and the possessors. The presence of giants distinguish between professors and possessors. It's one thing to confess the promises of God. It's another thing to strap on your sword and go toe-to-toe with your giants and possess your promises. Are you ready to possess the land? See, this was decision-making time. This was a very, very important decision when this report was brought back. What are you going to do? The choice is up to you. They sent the spies out. The spies came out. Now it was decision time. Now it was time for a wake-up call. Now it was time to say, get in it or get out. I remember when I was sanctified, and I'd been a Christian for a while. In fact, I was a youth pastor at Northside Church here in Memphis when I was really, truly sanctified. And I remember the struggle I went through about that. I believe the doctrine, it made sense. But in the application of the folks I saw around me, and I know about that whole thing about how you're not supposed to judge. But when I would see the people who testified to being sanctified and those who didn't, I didn't honestly see any real difference. And, what I saw was not living up with what I believe the Bible taught. And so I had a struggle about this. And I finally came to the place where I was willing to say, it doesn't matter whether anybody else has got it or not. If it's real, and I believe that God is fair, and if anybody in the world has ever at any time been filled with His Spirit, why not me and why not now? And sometimes, it's one thing to profess it, it's another thing to possess it. And this decision that they made about the giants, you see, that was the only reason that there was for them to deny going on. They had this fruit, and you've probably seen pictures, maybe when you were in Sunday school, carrying grapes, on a branch between their shoulders, grapes, on a bunch like that, and all that stuff, and a land flowing with milk and honey, and that means cows and bees, I guess. Milk and honey. And so there was all these good things, and everything, but the one negative thing was the giants, and it was enough to stop most of them because they realized if we're going to possess this land, it's going to cost us something. It's not a freebie. Number three, giants expose the grasshoppers in the crowd. Giants expose the grasshoppers in the crowd. I've always been amazed by this verse because it says, we were like grasshoppers in our own eyes. I thought about this one time and I realized, NFL's about to start here in a few weeks, and I thought about all the mascots. My favorite team doesn't have one. Cleveland Browns. What are they? Brown. But we got the Atlanta Falcons. We've got the Dallas Cowboys. We've got the St. Louis Cardinals. We've got the, let's see, who's the Jaguars? Some of you guys help me out. Who's the Jaguars? North, South Carolina? Who is it? Jacksonville, right. Jacksonville Jaguars. And we've got all Buffalo Bills and I guess they have a buffalo named Bill. I don't know, because their mascot's a buffalo on the side of their helmet. But these teams try to pick. You never saw anybody that had a team that was the Memphis Mice. They always try to picture and use an animal that symbolizes strength and ferocity. Nobody ever picked a grasshopper. And they said, we were in our own eyes like cougars. No. We were in our own eyes like grasshoppers. And so we were in theirs. When giants show up, grasshoppers speak up. Grasshoppers usually blend into their environments, but giants uncover them. Remember that grasshoppers don't eat grapes. You will never have promised land faith with a grasshopper mentality. You will never have promised land faith with a grasshopper mentality. Number 4, you get to know yourself under pressure. You get to know yourself in the struggle. The real you comes out under pressure. I've been amazed, probably you have too, about some of the things that people have done to survive when under pressure. They made a movie, so many hours, I forget what it was, about the guy, and you probably heard the story. He was a rock climber and got caught in some crevice and cut his own arm off with a pocket knife, I think. I saw a story about a guy that was down in his basement up north somewhere, and he had one of those old boilers, and he was trying to get it out, and somehow or other he got his arm wedged in that boiler and got trapped in there for hours and a couple of days, and he couldn't get any help and wondered what he'd do, so he managed to reach over and get a hacksaw and cut his own arm off. We've heard the story or seen the story of that girl who was a surfer. And a shark took one of her arms, and she's still surfing. I saw a story just this last week about a woman who was, she was an Olympic athlete, I believe, and she was running to practice out in the desert somewhere in Utah, I think where it was, and she fell, I forget how many feet, and she crushed her entire pelvis. Her pelvis was just crushed into smithereens. And she started dragging herself across the desert floor. Her dog, yeah, that's right, it was on Animal Planet because she had a dog that eventually got her saved. You look at those people and you wonder, man, how in the world do they manage to have the power, the willpower, the strength, the desire to survive stuff like that? I don't know. I hope, oh Lord, please, I don't want to be tested like that. I don't know what I would do if I was really under. I hope I would be the kind of person that would survive. But so many people are so used to, forgive me, but they're so used to whining and complaining about the life's little stinking problems that we have because they struggle over that. If they got into a real fight for their life, they would just die. And our spiritual life is no different than that. You're going to get into some real struggles. And you will find out what you're made of when that happens. You will find out whether you've got the grits or not. The struggle helps you to get to know yourself. Number 5, you get to know your God. You get to know your God. There's some struggles that we find ourselves in where we realize the only hope we have is God.